Very good afternoon, all. Welcome to the class after the first lecture of the file handling. So last class we have started file handling and we have discussed the text-based file handling. And I'm sure all of you have done the basic homework on the output files as well as input files. I'm sure all of you have completed the assignment, and the last question which I gave last time, that was question 5, if I remember correctly. That was saying that you have to generate an input file, or you have to find out from an input file the count of symbols based on the characters or number of characters, or I'll say number of digits, number of alphabets, number of blanks, number of symbols, etc., etc. So I'm sure you have done that, and that was one interesting problem. Most of you must have attempted, run that and tested that, but did you observe any problem? Most of you will say no, but you must have observed a problem, and that is what is the starting point for today's discussion. If you have not found any problem, it simply means that you have not counted and verified your output. Did you verify all those counts? Whatever result output was being coming, that whether the corresponding count was correct in the file data also or not. You might have seen the results and happy, but didn't confirm the result. Had you confirmed the result, you must have faced a problem typically because of this question. That will be more visible when I demonstrate it via the DevCpp code. So let me just take you to the DevCpp code. So question 5, this was what I have said, that let's say some input file will be read. The file name we can take from the user, open it in read mode. And then firstly, I read the number of variables, n or count. Once I have read the count, after that, I need to repeat and read from the file character by character count times. And based on the character, I will count blanks or space plus plus. If character is in between 0 to 9, 0 to a digit plus plus, I can easily compare it with, because everything is read as a character, so slash within single quotes 0 to 9. Or alternatively, I can use their ASCII code. This is for capital A to Z. I have shown two alternate implementations. For small a to z, I used single quotes within a to z, and for for uppercase letters, I have used the ASCII code. So anyone you can use. And if there are other symbols, they will be counted. And then I say file will be closed and that display will be there. I'm sure something similar you must have done. Let's try to run it and see the results. Say out1.txt is my input file, which is already present into my current folder. And when I run this, I see I got this output. So most of you might be saying, okay, the output is okay, but let's see the corresponding file, which was the input file. Let me just have this smaller file. So now you can easily compare these things. So this is my total n is a 10, and then followed by I have some symbols A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, $. So these are the 10 inputs I have given. After 10, the blank is needed to change from 10 to A, or from 1 to 3, etc. So I have A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4 $. So ideally, there are 4 alphabets, 4 digits, and 2 symbols. But if you see here, 4 digits, okay, space 1, alpha 1, symbol 1. I have 2 symbols, and there are 10 characters. Maybe I'll say, okay, fine, let's change it. Let's have it 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe A, B. Then let's have capital AB. So all this and then. So 4 digits, 4 alphabets, 2 symbols. I save this file, Notepad created file. I close this and rerun it. Out1.txt. Now, sorry, out1.txt I have to give, I typed wrongly. So out1.txt, current file. Again, if you see, the output is incorrect. And if you compare it here, now you can easily see 4 digits, okay, space I didn't give, 4 alphabets, symbols were 2, I am getting 1 symbol. This problem you must have also observed, but didn't notice. The reason is because of this symbol, actually, this blank. So let me explain now what is really happening, and then I'll tell the solution. So talking of this problem, effectively what is happening is not your problem, but in case of your files, remember with character handling, there is a special issue. After 10, you have pressed blank. Then you have, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, and A, B, C, D, comma, dollar. So these are your 10 characters which you have given, and you want these to be counted. But when you did F scan F for N or count whatever you have read, this reading happened correctly. Perfect. 10 was read. This 10 was read correctly. After that, the internal cursor is at this position. Now, if internal cursor is at this position, then next time when you have a for loop, 10 times to repeat, and each time what you are doing is you are doing F scanf with percentage C, %ch. Now, percentage C will mean character to be read and blank also read here. First time blank will be read. Hence, your number of spaces count was increased and this CH was this read. Although this you have given as a separation so that after this you could give the data. And that was compulsory. You have to give this blank, because if you don't give blank, you will have another problem. If you don't give blank, it will appear like this. A, B, C, D, comma, dollar. But then this will become a kind of N or count or even something similar, because after that again A. So your N will not be 10 anymore. Hence, you have no choice, but after 10, either give enter or give a blank. After that, you will always store the data, and then only your next characters. But this blank or enter, even if you write, that same problem will still come. For example, I'll just again stop here and then again go back into this file. I'll have this data into a new line. Now I'll save this file, re-execute my program, out1.txt. And now if you say number of spaces is 0, symbols are 2, but one symbol counted here is because of enter. In order to verify that, let's say I will give here 5, 6. So there is no enter and 6 digits are there. No symbol as a part of my input, and 4 alphabets and 6 symbols, 6 integers. Let's run this, out1.txt. Let me just change this to this side. Okay. Now, just see here, digits are coming as 5, symbols still come as 1, although out of my 10 characters, no symbol is there. So enter is now creating the same problem. So we have to really handle this problem and how to handle it. So how to handle, it's not your problem. The problem is char data type reading. Every time, whatever you want to have char data type reading, any symbol which you have pressed earlier or any symbol which is present earlier, that will create an issue for you. For example, in this case, I know one blank or enter was being used. I have used that. So I will consume that before reading my next characters. So what I will do here is, I will put extra command here to read a dummy character where I will read and ignore the separating character which I have stored after n or count. So after n, or I'll say after count, whatever you say. So this will be reading now. And now if I run the same program again and give out1.txt, so my symbols should come as 0. And now you can say symbols 0, digits 6, alpha 4, corresponding to this input file. So, and if this data was, let's say, here like this, still I can see the same thing must happen. So I can confirm that again now, again executing the same thing. Now the file has changed. number of spaces is still 0, and I will still get the same. I have stored and saved that file, and it is updated file. So that problem gets over now. So this becomes one solution which I could handle while reading from this input file. So that a blank, etc., being used and present into the input file was ignored through the dummy character. So I read a dummy character reading and ignored that character because I knew one character was present. Had there been more than one character, accordingly, I need to take care. But in files, I will exactly know what I have stored and how to handle that. But how did you create your file? Like, you might have created your file through Notepad input file for your question file. So you must have created the way I have shown you. Through Notepad, the way I did, I typed there and used that. Perfect. What if I say create an output file first for Q5's input and that data, whatever you give, should be used. Sorry, I think this my screen is not visible. Let me just go and share with you this writing. Yeah. So my question is that how did you create your input file for the question file? You must have created via Notepad. And what I said was that the solution with the Notepad file was that I have your dummy character reading to be done. Your one character or blank entry is present in the input file. Via dummy character reading, you can ignore that if there is only one. If there are multiple, you have to handle it. But more importantly, I go further that this you might have done via Notepad. Fine, solution, you could type that way and then dummy read. Let's say if I wanted the output file to be created via program, so I will read from the user but store through that program into an output file. For example, I say I will write a program which generates a file, let's say out2.txt generated, and then this out2.txt should become an input file for the question file. So I want to generate this out2.txt through program. Means I want to write a program where I will say fprintf, etc., fopen, and file name I will ask, which will be a write file. And in the file, you will write your n, let's say 10, followed by some symbols you will read. So n user will tell and store it into file. And then followed by similarly n characters read from user and store them into file. So I want to generate this file also via program. And then obviously now after 10, I will be supposed to give one blank or enter while storing and then n characters. I'll show you the sample code and what will happen. So this is something which I am talking to you to implement. So you say enter the name of the output file and then you read the file name. You open that file into the write mode and then you say, first of all, I will read n. After reading n, I will say, now I will write the same n into file with a blank here. Note here, this is one blank and double quotes. I'll tell about this statement a bit later. So this is what I wanted. And then I have a printf. Then I will read from the user and characters and then the correspondingly write into the file. For the time being, if I, let's say, comment this and see how do I execute. So if my file name is, let's say, out2.txt, and now I'll say number of characters, let's say 10. Fine, 10 characters I have to input now. So I have given 10, enter I have pressed, and now characters to be given. 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D. And let's say I write again 6, 7, 5, 6. So I have total 6 digits and 4 ABCD alphabets. 6 digits and 4 ABCD alphabets. So my out2 file should be ready. Let's verify that, and I'll open the out file. So I will say this file I have stored into current folder, maybe. Let's say if it is, I think because I'm working on this folder, so this folder has my final codes. So out2.txt. Now just see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, and 5, not 6 stored. So a similar problem happening because after 10, I have the new line also. I never pressed or stored in printf via this new line character, but my data is stored here because I pressed enter. What does that mean? I mean that while making this input file, what I have done was I have given 10 as input from keyboard, and then I pressed enter. This was read as n, scanf, perfect. In your output file, you wrote 10. You also wrote one blank via fscanf, fprintf command. So that is perfect. After this n reading till now, okay. Now you have a for loop for 10 times to repeat. And then you have a scanf %ch, percentage C. But first time /n or enter, which you have pressed after 10, this will be read. This enter which you have pressed will be read for the first time. And that same enter was typed into the output file. So first character stored, second character was 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, and 5. Enter being first character, 1 plus 4, 5, plus 4, 9, this being 10th character, and that's it. So this enter pressed is always creating a problem, and this will create problem every time whenever you are using any kind of character-based input. Not only with files, even with normal data types also. So how to solve that? The problem actually in this case happens is that I have typed your enter or whatever through keyboard after n. After 10. What really happens is internally, whatever you type, all your typed data, this goes actually into a special file which is called as stdin file. So you typed 10 and enter on keyboard. Internally, this has gone to stdin file where 10 and enter are there. Now, your scanf statement always tries to read the data from stdin file, not directly from the keyboard. It always goes to read the data from stdin file. If it doesn't get the data into stdin file, then it will wait for the keyboard, but from whatever keyboard comes, first it will come to stdin file. So scanf, you said %n. N means an integer to be read. 1, 0 was read, so n got 10. Whatever you read is removed from stdin file, and this enter is still there into stdin file. After reading n also, the enter is still there in stdin file. So next time, whenever you have next scanf %C will guaranteedly read the enter for sure without any problem, because this is always there. After this, it will read enter, so enter will get consumed. Now again, you get a next scanf. Again, it will try to go into input file, stdin file, nothing present. That will mean now it will say keyboard has to type something. So it is waiting for the keyboard. First time it will not wait. If you give one and input and then press enter, effectively nothing else will be read. So now if you press 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, 5, 6, these data, 9 data will be read only. And next scanf means whatever you type, it will again come into the file like this. It is into your stdin file. Next scanf will mean 1 read, cursor internally here, 1 consumed. Again scanf 2 read, cursor will move and 2 consumed. So whatever you keep on reading, that gets removed, remaining characters remain there. So that problem was there. Solution to that is use fflush stdin. So stdin file is to be emptied. Empty this file. This command means this. If it has anything, if it has nothing, no problem. So whenever you use fflush stdin, that will remove any pre-existing data into the file. What does that mean? Here I have done after reading n, I have done fflush. So enter you have pressed after n will be flushed out. And now your new data will be read. So you have stored here a blank, that is perfect. But now new n characters will be read. So if I now execute this command and say you have out2.txt, and in that file I want 10 characters, you can say I will give 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, 5, 6. Now everything will be stored into your out2.txt. I will refresh this file. I will say open and out2.txt. You can see here now 6 is also read. So this is what exactly is the solution. And with any character data type, whenever you are going to read a character data type, if before reading that any symbol was already pre-existing or likely to exist, whether one or many symbols, through fflush you can remove that. Remember, if you don't use this, and let's say I try to read, just let's have another look, that if I just give 1, so 1 character should be read from me, I will press enter and see nothing will be read, program will be over. And now I'm saying, output file I'll give. Once I give the output file name, after that I will give the number of characters to be 1, and then I will say this will create a problem. Now I'll say 1, enter. And I could not input the character because enter itself was used. Now I remove this and now execute. I give out2.txt. I press 1. Now it is waiting for me to give a character. I give A. I pressed enter also. That enter will also go in. After A also I have pressed enter. Enter has also gone into stdin file. Subsequent %C reading of scanf will get problem because of this enter also. So anytime I have that, I can solve that. Just to verify, let's see. Again, I open the file out2.txt, and you can see now A character is stored. So this is precisely how my program has to be handled. So I think I can stop here now, and now we will resume to today's further discussions. So let's resume here. Let me have this here, and now I'm ready with this. So fscanf and fprintf, you are able to use that, and fflush is another new command which you have learned today. So before reading a character data type, this command could be quite useful. Character-based or string-based, whenever you are reading anything, command fflush is very useful, because whatever you type through the keyboard remains into stdin file until unless read or fflush or emptied. Over. Then now let's go further. Let's say I want to write a program which reads an input file and stores all contents into another output file. Into an output file. How to do that? Effectively, this is equivalent to saying copy a file into another file. For example, say I have a file out1.txt. I want to store this file into, let's say, a new file out3.txt. So how to do? Of course, what I can say is this file should be opened into a read mode, read character by character. This file to be opened into a W mode. So fscanf from the file repeatedly and keep on doing it fprintf into this file repeatedly. So from here, you can do that logic. What does that mean? Effectively, this means I will have a kind of first f open for fp in for out.txt, out1.txt. Maybe let's say file name I am not reading from the user, fix it. And in a read mode or read text mode, it is opened. fp out, I will do similarly for out3.txt. So this will be a new file created in write mode. Done. Now what I say, I have to loop, and every time I will say fscanf from fp in, read one character and store that character using fprintf. The same character to be stored with proper syntax. Keep on repeating this process. And once you are out, you will close both files. Fclose fp in. You will also close fp out. So this process to be repeated. How many times? Of course, you can say as many characters as I have. How many characters I have? No idea. So maybe you will say, go ask the user, tell me n. So if you ask the user, obviously that's a very bad question. Because user means user should open the file out1.txt, count one by one all number of characters and then tell you. So obviously not possible. Effectively, what you need is your file has, let's say, 230 bytes. So you should execute 230 times. It has 750 characters. You should execute 750. Maybe if your file size is known and everything you treat as a character, because integer, etc. also can be treated as a character. So maybe you can do. But here we have nothing else directly to know the file size also. File size also OS knows. This program has no idea. So how many times to repeat? So effectively, this we say till file ends, I should read. The same we have done when we read in strings also. In a string, how did you read? You never ask the length of the name. Reading was till enter pressed. So we said till enter pressed, we read that. Till enter is not pressed. Same thing we would like similarly till the file ends. That means file ending also should be detected. So how the file is ended? File ending is effectively EOF symbol is always there at the end of the file. Is there, or I will say is always there in text files. So text files we are handling at present, and in text files at the end of the file, this symbol is always present. And we will not be allowed to have this stored by our program statement, internally it gets stored. So whatever file, let's say you have A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, dollar, comma, and now this is you have stored a file. Your output file you created through Notepad or whatever, through program or through Notepad, whatever. But every time, whenever this file is finalized, whenever this file gets stored internally, a special symbol is appended here, which is called as EOF symbol, is appended at the last. Who does this? Obviously not the programmer. This will be done at the system level. Like in scanf, etc., with null character was appended in strings automatically. In this case also, it will be done. And effectively, your fclose command's responsibility also becomes to do this. So fclose does a lot of things, but this is also one action by this. So whenever you write fclose, it will ensure that file is ended properly by appending EOF symbol. So EOF is in caps is a special word and you can use that. And your fscanf statement or any reading statement, reading from text files, whenever that fails or whenever it reaches to end of the file, whenever it reaches and could not read any file, whenever whichever is being read, unsuccessful reading will return EOF. So effectively, this means your fscanf command might not be always successful. You have written fp in %c %ch could be working fine. Ch will get A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, dollar, etc. And any unsuccessful reading whenever after comma done, Ch will not get anything correct. It will be incorrect data and fscanf will fail in that case and it returns a status. So you should check that by assigning the returned value of fscanf. So fscanf is a function which returns a value. Normal cases, the returned value is not used because it was successful. Unsuccessful cases, your status will get EOF for unsuccessful case. Unsuccessful fscanf, your EOF will be returned to status and otherwise status will be something else than EOF. So this you can use to check and do your file reading till that time. So effectively, once I have done fopen, etc., all done, and now I wanted a while loop. So I can say, let's make an infinite loop. I will read the contents of the file line character by character, but also store the status into variable sta2tus fscanf, whatever I was doing, %c %ch from fp in, etc. But if the status was unsuccessful, terminate the loop. Otherwise, only you will store. So I will say if a status is equal to EOF, I will break out of the loop. So infinite loop will be over and it will take me outside of the loop. It will bring me here directly. If a break doesn't happen, only then I will store the red symbol, which is CH into FP out. So character by character, I will be reading from the file and storing the same character into file character by character. But if unsuccessful, break brings me here Here I can have my F close, etc., and all closing and whatever you want it to do. So this can be one way. Use EOF status of reading commands and do this program. That's not the only way. There is another alternate also, which says use FEOF function, which returns true whenever EOF symbol, whenever end of a file, or I'll say whenever reading at end of a file is attempted. So I say this can be the second way of solving this. So instead of while one, I will say while not FEOF, FP in. FEOF returns false whenever end of file is not being read. False, negation of false will mean true and means continue. So if end of file is not reached, continue. If end of file has been reached or has been read, yeah, reading has been done at end of a file, then you will stop. So here you will simply say fscanf and then fprintf. So no infinite loop to be written, and you could do the same work like this. But I will say attempt both and carefully verify your output. Why I'm saying? Because like the previous case, we have one extra null correct, one blank or null enter creating a problem in std in or fflush related issues. Here also one special problem, one special issue will be observed by you, and that we will solve next time. So carefully verify your output and check what problem is coming and are you able to detect that, and then we will talk of that solution. But otherwise, more or less, I have done that. So one way using EOF, you can do that, and this. So based on that, I will say homework. I will give you one. You can say a file has lots of numbers, integer values, unknown count, find their average. Display your average in percentage F because a fractional value can come. But I will say verify the average also. Verify manually. Verify your result. You check that you are getting correct average or not. And obviously copying a file. That means whatever we have discussed, copying a file code to be completed. So this you must attempt. Both ways you should use. EOF based and FEOF based. And then you will learn something new. So having said that, now I will proceed to some more concepts. Like you have used already a statement which is your fscanf and fprintf. For all data types, they can be used without a problem. They are the best, all data types. Say if you want to use only string data type, then the equivalently you can use fgetS and fputS. Very similar to getS and putS for string data type. For example, copying of a file can be line by line based. Earlier, we have just now done was character by character. But you could read a file line by line, string by string, and fgetS or fputS can be used. So read file line by line and store file line by line and store each line. And line effectively means fgetS and fputS can be used to read full file as a full line, and then you can use the corresponding command also. So that also could be used. Similarly, fgetC, fputC are general commands correspondingly for the char data type. And they are similar to getC and putC commands. So the only thing is in these commands, %s, %c, etc., that need not be written. fscanf and fprintf you can specify using %c, etc. So %c, %f, %d, %s, all these you can use in your fscanf or fprintf, and they are directly usable in those ways. These are effectively called as a formatting instructions. You format your input or output as per your requirement. Formatting instructions or formatting structure. Similarly, even all data types, they will be used with various formatting statements. In fact, whatever till now we are using or whatever text files we are using, they are effectively called as formatted files because they store formatted data. Or they are having formatted data stored or read. Formatted data means we are using specific format like integer values mean digits, character values mean alphabets or symbols, etc., etc. Float value means etc., etc. All those things. And all these data is effectively as it is readable into Notepad in any editor. Good enough, perfectly works normal cases. But there are other kind of files which are called as a binary files. They are called as unformatted files. Unformatted streams. Meaning what? Effectively, this means they store everything in binary, no format, no digits, no alphabets. Everything is in binary digits. So binary digits will mean effectively zeros or ones. So whether you store A or you store 5 or you store 767 or you store -320. -320 doesn't mean a dash, symbol 3, symbol 2, symbol 0. -370 will be equivalent binary number, and that binary number will be stored. A will mean equivalent binary number, and that will be stored. 5 equivalent binary number, 267.33 will have an equivalent binary number. Everything will be stored in a binary form only. So my binary files effectively store everything as a block of bytes. Blocked data, block of data. Or I will say block of bytes. Everything is just collection of bytes. For example, I say a student record. Say my student record contains each student has a roll number, each student has a name, each student has, let's say, some marks. Now, you might have declared it as int of a roll number, char name 50, and float marks. Now, text storage for this file will mean everything is formatted data. So if your roll number is, let's say, 23, your name is, let's say, Sachin, your marks are 275.33. So it will be stored in this form into text file. Your name has 50 characters. You have given only 6 characters. Only 6 characters will be stored, and then some separator symbol if you have given blank, etc., to show different values. Your float value has 275.33, this much stored. If many digits were there, those many stored. Binary storage will mean, let's say, roll integer means 4 bytes. Char 50 will mean 50 bytes because char takes 1 byte each. Float value will mean effectively, let's say, 8 bytes. So total 62 bytes. Always, for any data you store, if your roll number was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, your name had, let's say, a big name, P.V. Narasimha Rao, and maybe more characters also. Your value was, the float value or marks were, let's say, 23.76543219. All this will be stored, this also in 62 bytes, and this also in 62 bytes, because everything is binary storage only. So that's the binary files. And it has its own advantages. But first thing is how to do or handle the binary files. Let's say I want to write a program. So I say, write a program which generates an output file, which is a binary file, storing sum or records of all students of the class. How many students are there? Don't know. So till end of file, it should be stored. Now, once this file is ready, now you should read from this file all records one by one. And display the details. Secondly, find average marks of the class. So this is what we want to do now. Finding average, I need to know how many students are there. That also should be counted because that is not prefixed. So while not end of file, while not FEOF, etc., that concept can be still used. So FEOF is still usable, okay to be used. And while reading, when I will store, so I will say reading, when should I stop? So I have to generate this, the students of the records to be read from the user. So user will input the data. And how long it will input? Input as long as, or input till roll number is not given as -1. So whenever roll number is inputted as -1, I will be stopping point. So read from the user. So what I mean is, I will inform various, as a user, I will type roll number, name, and marks, second student's roll number, name, and marks, and proceed like this. How to do that? So I need some reading and writing commands. For writing into the file, earlier you have used fprintf, but this is only for text files. For binary files, the command is fwrite. Similarly, fread to read from the binary file. So this is a write into a binary file. And fread is read from a binary file. Syntax, we will just remember, see and understand. So this is what will be the command. So let's say I should do modular programming. So in the same program, first I will write a module to create a file. Let's say void create binary file. If any parameters, file name you want to supply, maybe you can say, or you can read from the user. Of course, you will declare your file. Let's say I will take the file name as fpout because it's an output file being created. So what I'll do, first step, obviously I have to open fpout equal to fo. And file name either could be taken from the user via parameter or directly read or what. But here you will write WB. B is must here. In text file, it was not must, but now it is must. Binary file being created. Then you have to repeat and loop. So obviously, I will say while. And obviously, condition is while roll number is not equal to -1. Based on that, you should do that. So whatever you want to do, accordingly, you will write something. Whatever, from where this field and all that, you can decide later. I'm more interested into the file handling. So from the user, what you will read? You will read the name, roll number, and marks. So maybe I will say scanf. Let's say roll number to be read. Where to read? Into some variable. Maybe I can take a separate integer variable, or I can have a student records variable and directly store there. That indirectly means student1 is a variable of type structure whose field is one field is roll number and others also. So I will say you should declare that. Then similarly, I will say after that I have to read the name. So I will say maybe %s and I will say student1. So this for bracket %m% to be used. These brackets I should have used. That will ensure that ampersand will work correctly. Student1 dot name, no ampersand needed here. Note down this because name is an array of characters and automatically that is the address. So student1 same field dot name. But again, you see, you are going to read character data type, array of characters. Enter pressed after %b might create a problem. In some cases it creates, in some cases not. Scanf %s, scanf %c, scanf or gets, all these slightly vary from their reading processes also, but enter pressed might create a problem. So simplest solution could be that I always use fflush stdin to ensure whatever we have learned last time. So null enter pressed after reading the roll number will be removed and emptied from the stdin. And now this statement without any problem work. After this also you will press enter, but next time I am going to read a float value. Enter or blanks pressed before integer or float are absolutely not problematic at all. We have been always doing that. So without that still I can work. For example, I say student1 dot marks. So that to be read, and for ampersand these brackets will be must. So I will keep on reading this. Now, had this been text file, you will write fprintf %d %s %f. But if you want to write using output file, so of course, before that, you will ensure that if your roll number is -1, if roll number is equal to -1, accordingly, you need not read further. No name to be read, no marks to be read, program to be stopped, no data to be written, stored. So if roll number is equal to 1, that extra check you should make. and accordingly, rest of the things to be handled. If roll number is not -1, things proceed normally. What to do? Write this data into the file. How to write? Command is fwrite, and fwrite will mean, first of all, I'll tell from where the block of the data to be read or to be taken and to be put into the file. So ampersand student1. It means student1 variable must be of that particular type where 62 bytes are available, and we have already read earlier. Second parameter to this is the size of each block being written. For example, I write here size of a student. It means the 62 bytes effectively. This indirectly means student must have been the structure variables type def. I must have declared student as a type def struct student with all these three fields, and that will tell me the 62 bytes. Third parameter to this is how many blocks to be written at a time, how many records at a time. For the time being, I have read only one record, and the same record to be written into the file. I'm writing one. But if I have, let's say, 10 records, all 10 records are stored in one array. So all array can be written by using 10, and all 10 records can be written into the file with single command. For the time being, I'm writing one. And this is the output file within which I want to write. So it has 4 parameters: the variable from where the data to get, the size from for each block or each record, how many records to be written, and into which file to be written. This fwrite command. Again, when it fails, or for writing case, if the file is opened correctly, fwrite will work, but yes, it can fail. So one thing you could do is, of course, if fpout was equal to null, that will mean file could not be created. If you want to handle that, that also you can write, but with output files, normally that will not happen. So you keep on reading the data and keep on storing into the file. So this way, your file will be created, and creation will be complete only once you make fclose. Fclose fpout will ensure that the now file is closed, and subsequently it can be opened in input mode for the next step. So fpout is ready. Now I will say, I will leave it to you and try now to create the file where you have got the equivalent reading done from the same file. Meaning, I'm asking you to write the code for a function like, let's say, float find average from the data available in some file. So whatever parameters, if you need something, of course, I will have here file star fpin. And I want you now to write the whole code so that finally you will write here return average. And the average which will be done. So you will display all records also and find average. So I want you to just think of this code. It is exactly same as create binary file function we have written. More or less all commands are similar. Just the only thing is, instead of fwrite, you will need a reading command, and which is fread. And all other things are same. All 4 parameters in the same order can be used. So from reading a binary file, you have fread command. One block at a time to be read, and you can read like this. So those who want to try, they should give a pause to this video, try that, and it should be very easy, straight away, parallel code to the previous function we have written. I'm giving few seconds pause, and then I'm showing you how to write that. Yeah, so I hope you have tried by now and you have attempted. So give 5 minutes to write your code. If you are able to write, you will be verifying with my code. If you are not able to write, you will know what doubts you came, why you couldn't write. And when I explain, you will be clear that which step you were missing. So now I start assuming that you have attempted and tried your code for 5 minutes at least to write the code. First step, of course, fopen. So fopen will be now fopen with whatever file name. So you will say fopen fpin equal to fopen and whatever file name to be opened in read binary mode. File name will be same as which you created in the previous function. Here you must check if fpin equal to null, if file could not be opened in the same folder, it didn't exist, whatever action you want to take, stop, exit, break, whatever. Once done, effectively now you have to do keep on reading. Reading will mean effectively fread from the file. So effectively same syntax, ampersand student1, and lastly you will write fpin because you are reading from the file pointer which is fpin now. And what you have to do, display. So display effectively means what? Maybe you can display using a printf command directly on the screen. So maybe you can say display %d, %s, %.2f to display your marks in that proportion, comma. Obviously, %d means from where into the student1 record the data has been read. So student1 dot roll number to be displayed. I wanted a blank in between to show on the screen correctly. Maybe after this, I wanted a slash n. It's my choice, the way I want to show on the screen. I want normally a formatted output to be shown, but this is just on the screen. My file is still a block of data being read. Similarly, you can have a student1 dot name to be displayed for the %s, and so and so. And once you have done that, maybe after that you have to also find out your average. So that means your sum should be found. So I will say sum equal to sum plus the new marks which I have read just now. What marks have been read? Student1 dot marks. Student1 dot marks. That variable name, etc. you should be able to declare and use that. As soon as you come to know, you must ensure that you outside declare your sum as 0. That you have to immediately repo. Similarly, you want to count plus plus so that later you can do the count based division. So you will ensure that you write a count equal to 0 also. And this process to be repeated. How long to repeat? Till your file doesn't end. When the file will end, you can have a while statement. While not FEOF FPin. This statement I'm writing clearly on the other side. While not FEOF FPin. And within that, whatever logic you are writing. Repeat this process, come out. Of course, you have to close the file. Don't forget to close the file. FP out had to be closed. Only then this file will be readable. If that file was in write mode, till you don't save it on hard disk, your next find average function will not be able to read. Similarly, here you should close the file. That's always a healthy practice. And otherwise, yes, OS has to take some actions and then your compute average, whatever way you want to do, and then accordingly return average. So I'm not writing the full code, I'm leaving it to you. So I'll give you homework now. Second homework, I will say, yes, complete this code. For finding display and find average of students. Marks. But again, I will say, carefully observe the output and find, is there any problem? So in this case, of course, we are not using EOF symbol. This we are always doing use FEOF. EOF symbol I am not using because I said fscanf returns. fread does not return EOF. Yes, fread returns non-zero or returns 0 to be precise when fails. So EOF is not to be used. fread returns 0 whenever fails in reading. So that you can use, but coarsely we have used FEOF. Question number 3, I will give you another just to try that. That is, let's say I assume that books records are to be stored into a program, through a program. Books records to be stored into an output file. And record means what? Say book ID, book's title, book's cost. But ID will be always 1, 2, 3 onwards, and this will be generated automatically in the program. So you will have your own ID assigned, it will not be read. First record read, give it ID 1. Second record read, give it ID 2, and so on. Not read from user. ID you will not read. These two fields you will read. So just do this process. I'll just take this side. Automatically, this will be generated. So generate this now. Once the file is ready, find average cost and also display books detail having highest cost. So this is the third homework which I have given. So effectively, I will just reiterate homeworks. I have given 3 homeworks. First homework which was given was based on my earlier files where we have used EOF as well as FEOF based file storage, file copying, etc. Both methods we have used. And for file copying also, we have discussed some various issues, which I have said effectively copying a file, plus I have said a lot of integer values. So I have given homework to get integers values average. So these 2 programs using both both combinations, and for each of them, this also to be used for this. That was homework 1. Homework 2 is your effectively students records and binary files based code. This one is this, and third is book based code where book's ID is prefixed. And highest cost book also to be displaced. So try these 3 homeworks, carefully observe output. Next class, we will discuss some issues related to this. And there are some special advantages of binary file, which a text file doesn't allow. That also we will discuss next class. Bye-bye. All the best to all of you. Let me stop now.